We forget that the flu can actually kill children. We need to remember that, and this is one of those stories that illustrates it. It may be top of mind for so many of us this time of year, but listen, there were some of the biggest health stories in 2018 that we have to talk about as we get ready to wrap up the year, of course. Dr. Daria Long, a clinical assistant professor at the University of Tennessee, is with us right now. One of the big elements here that you noted that stood out to you, the drop in U.S. life expectancy.
Yeah.
Why did that trigger?
Yeah, Christine, this is a big story because for the first time we had 2 consecutive years that the life expectancy dropped since 1917 when there was that big flu epidemic.
Yes.
But the important thing is it's not really due to medical care. There's some really important drivers, and that's why I want people to know this. Number 1, the opioid epidemic. Number 2, suicide and violence. Suicide deaths have increased 4% since last year and 30% since 1999. And we had a big bump in the flu season that we saw last year, and also 80% of the chronic disease is due to lifestyle decisions, which actually gives people some hope because it means that we can change what's going on with it when it comes to this life expectancy.
I know that lowering the stigma around mental health was also an issue in seeking treatment. Have you seen any progress in the acceptance of that and making sure that people aren't afraid to get the help they need?
Yeah, Christy, I think that's a great point because we saw many big tragedies this year and the loss of people who seem to have everything. Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain. And the one thing we can take away from it is that it did highlight that mental illness can happen to anybody. It happens to 1 in 5 adults. And the importance of bringing that to light, seeking care, feeling comfortable reaching out and seeking care, whether that's from your doctor or just an online support group, finding somebody else because you really are not alone.
Yeah. You also wanted to talk about this genetically modified twins story in China.
Yes.
Genetically modified twins?
Yes, and we have to, this was the CRISPR twins out of China, and we have to point out we're not at that stage of saying I want to choose a blonde baby yet.
Okay, yeah.
But this did highlight what we may be able to do, but what we really shouldn't be doing because of the errors. And the big thing about this science is kind of like autocorrect on your phone. It may catch those few contractions that you made that there were kind of errors, but you know autocorrect on your phone, it also changes a lot of things that you don't want it to.
Right,
and that is the reality of this science, which is why we should not be doing this on humans and why it's banned in the U.S. to do it on humans.
So what happened? I mean, what happened in this case?
So what they wanted to do was prevent these 2 fetuses from catching HIV. The fathers had HIV, so they went in and genetically modified all of their cells to be ostensibly resistant to HIV. Now, one of the twins may have had that effect, the other didn't, and we really don't know what's the impact of that autocorrect on all the other genes in their body. We will not know. We may not know for years until we start to see some consequences. Right.
Yeah. And
so they're doing this research on things like congenital defects and problems like that would otherwise be life-threatening, very experimental, and banned in the U.S. to be doing it on live humans.
Sure.
So.
I want to ask one more thing because I know that so many people are starting their new year and they're thinking, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to make this happen. There's a study now that shows calories in, calories out is not necessarily the way to go. What are you talking
about? We were always taught this, a calorie is a calorie is a calorie, right? And that's just eat less and exercise more. Well, the good thing is, this is not to confuse people. Calories still matter. It's simple math, but there's a lot of other things that matter. So number 1, what you eat. Eating less processed food, less of those fake low-fat foods.
Yes.
Just avoid those. There's nothing good about those. Number 2, timing. There's more about time-restricted eating, eating with your circadian rhythm. We're learning a lot about how that can impact your health. And eating late in the middle of the night and really disrupting your sleep can increase your waistline. And lastly, stress. They found that women who ate high-fat, high-processed foods, it impacted their waist, but only when they were really under chronic stress and really letting it get to them. So some mindfulness stuff, taking just a moment for mindfulness and a minute of quiet, it's not just for your mental health, it's for your physical health as well.
They are so interconnected, aren't they?
Absolutely. The mind-body connection is 100% real.
Absolutely. Dr. Daria Long, thank you for being here.
Of course, my pleasure. Happy New Year.
Great information. Happy New Year to you, too. Absolutely. So.